Hello friends, Elitist Worm here today to respond to a forum post that I happened to see while I was browsing. Sorry, let me get that situated. While I was browsing the forums today, which I do pretty frequently, right? But I saw this post, and the title of the post is Destiny 2 Grind and Elitism Have Made This Game Suck Throughout the Years. And I read it over, and I'm going to read it again with us here, because this individual, who I'm going to try not to show their name, right? But they say a lot of things about D1 and D2. And I think this player could be kind of further from the truth, right? But I wanted to highlight this specific post because I think that it does touch on some just disconnect between the community and Destiny 2, right? So first of all, I would say I'm a hardcore Destiny player. I have thousands of hours in the game. I play very frequently. I've done all levels of content from in-game down to the most basic, patrols and stuff like that. Like, I have done everything there is to do in the game. I've been flawless. I've done master dungeons. I've, I've done raids and stuff like that. I've played a lot, and I've encountered a lot of people who also play this game, from players who are just brand new to Destiny 2 to players who have, even more hours and time than I do. And I feel like I have a good sense of what is going on with Destiny 2, and I have a good sense of, what players are feeling and what they want. And I found this post, and let me just read it here, okay? So, title states, Destiny 2 Grind and Elitism Have Made This Game Suck Throughout the Years. All right, look, this post is gonna get a lot of elitist hate, but I don't care. Elitist are what's wrong with this game's grind. That being said, here I go. So first sentence right here, I would say that any game where the creator or the maker, the developer, caters to elitist players or the elite, the top few players, that is going to be a game that's going to suffer greatly. However, I don't think that Bungie does that. In fact, I think the opposite. And we're going to go over this. When we read this, we're going to talk about every little thing that this person mentions and why it is the opposite, right? But continuing on here, when Destiny 1 was out, you could solo raid bosses with the right setup. You could do high-level Nightfall as anyone else could. Sorry, the grammar here is a little bit rough. And as the years have gone on, players have asked for more content, and you created a wall for players to hurdle over. Again, that's power level / light level. And again and again. Despite thinking this might have gained you players, it actually lost you players because you made certain stuff hard to do or require a ridiculous amount of farming for XP on a seasonal artifact. So I want to stop here. This person brings up Destiny 1. Destiny 1, they say you could solo raid bosses with the right setup. You could do high-level Nightfalls as anyone else could. First of all, soloing a raid boss should never have been a thing. Right, raids are designed, they're intentionally designed to be a team environment, a 6-player team environment. Like, there are I shouldn't say there are but there are very, very few raid encounters that require just 1 or 2 people, right? It's like most raid encounters require everybody to do a specific job, or at least know how to do very specific jobs. Like, killing Oryx in Kingsfall, right? Everybody stands next to a plate, but it's random who's going to be torn between dimensions. So you can't just go in there and I'm just going to add clear, because next thing you know, you might be torn between dimensions and you don't know what to do. It should never have happened that way. And this person saying, oh, you could solo raid bosses. Like, yes, that was a thing that could happen, but that's not something that was okay, in my opinion. Like, that should not have been able to happen. They also go on to say with the right setup, and that's ironic because, we're gonna, a little bit later, it's gonna be ironic, but they say you could solo raid bosses with the right setup, reckoning back to the days of self-res, mind you. But they also said you could do high-level Nightfall as anyone else could, and as the years have gone on, players have, you do high-level Nightfalls. Again, I'm pretty sure that everybody can do Nightfalls, right? Like what is the Nightfall power cap? Isn't it 18, 15 or something like that? Like, I could be wrong. I don't remember exactly what it is, but yeah, you have to be basically at max power level or very close to max power level to really have any sort of, ability to compete in Grandmaster Nightfalls. But I don't think that's gatekeeping, because it's not super difficult. The players who can't do Nightfalls are players who are Grandmaster Nightfalls. Sorry, I should mention that. Players who can't do Grandmaster Nightfalls are players who are new to Destiny, or they don't invest the time in Destiny. And I think that's completely fine. Mind you, there are different Nightfall settings, difficulty settings, right? You've got I think your lowest currently is like 1765 or 1770 power. So once you hit 1765, 1770 power, you can do the lowest level Nightfall, and it's match made to give, to increase the accessibility that players have to the game. But this person, they're saying, oh, you could do Nightfall. Like in Destiny 1, you could solo raid, you could do a Nightfall just like anybody else. Like, I don't see any difference. In Destiny 2, you can't solo raid bosses. Is that a bad thing? No, I don't think so. Anybody can do a Nightfall. And that's something that they just completely failed to mention here, was that the Nightfall, there's not just the Nightfall. Destiny 1 had just a Nightfall, right? It was basically Grandmaster difficulty. Now we have multiple layers. 1760, 1770, whatever the power cap is for that, for the lowest light level Nightfall, that is still a Nightfall that players can get in and do. And there's not much time or effort that people have to invest in it. It's not like you have to play for hours and hours and hours on end to grind up your level all this crazy high. Like everybody starts, if I'm not mistaken, everybody starts like 1600 power anyways. Like it's not like you're having to work from level 1 all the way up to 1800. And it's not like Elder Scrolls where you start literally at level 1 and if you run across somebody who's level 1800, like they've put time in the game. Like 1800 is a very doable, easy to obtain power cap. Never mind seasonal artifacts, and especially with the way Bungie has been doing things over the past couple seasons, we haven't had power level increases. But even when the power cap was 1800, the pinnacles that you would get, if you'd get pinnacles before you hit 1790 or whatever the soft cap was, I mean, your pinnacles would carry you up 2 or 3 levels. Like getting a helmet, for example, would bring you up like 2 or 3 light levels, right? Like they were substantial jumps. So no, I don't think that getting to soft cap is difficult. Hard cap, maybe a little bit of a different story, because you do have, you got to do some pinnacles, and stuff like that. And if you have bad luck, which they do mention that, and we'll talk about that in a second, but if you have bad luck, maybe you don't get the right pinnacles that you need, you're gonna be stuck for another week at whatever power level. But the thing is, there are so many activities that you can get pinnacle gear from. I mean, we got, of course, Crucible, Gambit, and Strikes. Like there's 3 right off the bat, but you have raids, you have seasonal activities, you have, there's a bunch of sources to get pinnacle gear, not legendary, not prime Ingrams, like actual pinnacle gear. Like it's not like it was back in Destiny 1 where you got basically 1 chance a week that was doing Volta Glass on the most difficult setting, which was like the master version basically. Like you can get 1810 power very easily. And like I said, with Bungie going the route that they've been going, where they're adding where they're keeping the power level cap, the power cap the same over a couple seasons, it shouldn't be hard. And here's the next reality: if you're not able to get to 1800, not 1810, but if you're not able to get to the soft cap, the reality is like you're not playing enough. It's not hard to hit the soft cap. Like it's easy to hit the soft cap. And if you're not hitting soft cap, you're not playing enough. And really you don't have any business being in those extremely difficult activities anyways. But moving on with the post here, they went on to say, despite thinking this might have gained you players, it's actually lost you players because you made certain stuff hard to do or require ridiculous amounts of farming on a seasonal artifact. This player, I have not looked at their character. I've not looked at their stats, looked them up or anything like that. I don't know if they actually played in D1 because I was just thinking about this the other day. Destiny 1 was tremendously harder than Destiny 2. Like anybody who didn't play Destiny 1, like take Destiny 2, take like Grandmaster Nightfall, take out the champions of course, but take Grandmaster Nightfall, remove the champions from the equation, and then take away all class abilities, take away a majority of the healing abilities you have, take away the damage boosts you have. Like the only thing we had in Destiny 1 like for a damage boost was the bubble with Weapons of Light. The only real healing we had, oh my gosh, you had Red Death for healing, which was a weapon similar to Crimson. You had a couple, like Titan had, I can't remember, Transfusion I think is what it was, where if you got a melee kill, it would start health regeneration. I think Warlock had 1 or 2 things on Void, maybe it was, that gave you health back. The healing, though, in Destiny 1 was nowhere near what it is in Destiny 2. Like imagine you're doing a Grandmaster Nightfall, but you can't use anything that heals you. right? No, of course, no banner of war, no healing risk, no healing grenades, nothing like that. Okay, and this player is saying that things in Destiny 2 are hard to do. Like, they're tough, sure, right? But hard to do, absolutely not, especially in comparison to Destiny 1, right? And this part, you know, the start of their sentence up here when they said when Destiny 1 was out, this to me sounds like they're trying to compare Destiny 2 to Destiny 1 in terms of, you know, the difficulty level. And the reality is Destiny 1's difficulty was so much greater than Destiny 2, right? Especially vanilla D1, where, you know, you'd have forever 29s because you couldn't find a fire team to take you into Vault of Glass, because Vault of Glass, to get the max level gear, was so difficult to do at level 27, 28, 29. Like, that's, I mean, it's like this player did not even consider that. And as time went on, I mean, even through House of Wolves and Rise of Iron, you know, the Taken King, like, it never really got easier. Like, those raids in Destiny 1 were difficult. Oryx was difficult. Wrath of the Machine was difficult. Crota's Inn was not difficult, right? But yes, they're right when they said earlier you could solo raid bosses with the right setup. But I want to continue reading on here. Now you have posts in your fire team section, which is supposed to be where you go to get assistance, not pay some dude to carry you through content that Bungie made way too hard. I get what they're saying. You know, you go on the LFG, and yes, there are bot accounts that are posting just ridiculous amounts of, you know, oh, like, buy your trials carry, buy your Vault of Glass carry, buy these, you know, buy these carries where you can, you know, they have a link, you go to the website and you basically pay somebody to carry you through that stuff. That's not new though. That was in Destiny 1, right? Like players did that in Destiny 1. Players literally made money by carrying people through Vault of Glass or carrying people in Trials of Osiris. Like, it's nothing new. Like they're you know, the person here, they're saying, oh, well, you know, like, you used to be able to go and only get help. Like, I think that is just wrong. I think it's just wrong. And I think they mentioned it. Let me just breeze through here real quick. Okay, yeah. So I'm going to continue reading here. So they go on and say, I get wanting your end game to have a strong sense of playability, but when that playability makes it so any portion of the game, portion of the community can't complete something that other players take the game too serious. Hold on. I get wanting your end game to have a strong sense of playability, but when that playability makes it so any portion of the community can't complete something that other players take the game way too seriously to beat. That sentence is a little bit confusing, but I think what they're trying to say is they understand that Bungie wants to make in-game activities difficult, but when you get to a point where any portion of the community can't complete something that other people can, like the other people take really seriously to beat, that's problematic. I think that's what they're trying to say. Here's the reality, guys. Destiny 1. I mean, for those of y'all who were back around in those days, do you remember what the LFG was like? Do you remember trying to find fire teams if you weren't level 30 or if you didn't have Galahorn? Do you remember how difficult it was? Because I do. Right, I remember you would go on the forums to like do, say, like Crota's Inn. You could not find a game where somebody, or find a post where somebody said must have Galahorn, where somebody did not say must have Galahorn, must be level 30, right? And if you joined one of these teams and you didn't have Galahorn, you didn't have level 30, you would actually just be instantly kicked. Right, like it's not like people do now where they request, you know, oh, please have this weapon, that weapon, and you join and you don't have it. And they're like, you know what, it's fine. We got 5 other people with it. No, like you would get kicked immediately, right? That was gatekeeping. And again, this player, like, I think that they're trying to compare Destiny 2 to Destiny 1. Destiny 1, in terms of toxicity, was tremendously more toxic than Destiny 2. Like, the community was much smaller, of course, in Destiny 1. So, you know, when you have a smaller community, it is much easier to find toxicity, right? And especially on the forums here, like the reality is the majority of players don't use the forums for LFG, right? Like the majority of casual players and stuff don't use LFG. I use LFG because I play this game religiously, and the LFG is a fantastic addition. You know, they added in-game LFG, but before that, most players aren't just, oh, I'm brand new to the game, somebody help me with a Nightfall. Like, no, you didn't have that because players just, they don't know that it exists. Right. But yeah, so continue on here. What was enjoyable about Destiny 1 is that all content was accessible. Absolutely not. Again, you know, you just talked about, you know, the difference between regular players of the community and players that take the game way too seriously, like, did you not exist in the time when you could literally be kicked because you didn't have a specific weapon? A weapon that, mind you, was complete RNG to get. Like, I had friends that sunk hours and hours in every week, right? We're talking 60 hours a week. Didn't have Galahorn. Didn't get Galahorn for forever, right? I got lucky enough to get it right, let's see, I think it was like a month into Destiny. Like, I got Galahorn from a Nightfall, right? Other players weren't so lucky, and they were excluded from content. Yes, all the content was accessible, but the reality is getting, you know, a team together, if you didn't have Galahorn, was nearly impossible. Getting a team together to do a raid was nearly impossible. So this is factually just wrong, okay? Plus, in Destiny 2, all content is still accessible. And I would argue that the forums nowadays are much, much more open, right? You can go in there and just make a post, say, hey, I want to do this Nightfall, Grandmaster. And then people will join. They'll join you and they'll do it. They'll suffer through it. Like it's wild that this individual here is complaining about D2 and what was wrong. It's like they've got their games flipped, because Destiny 2 has all the features that they're talking about, and Destiny 1 did not. And they're saying, oh, well, Destiny 1 had all this accessible content. No, it was not. Let's continue on reading here. I remember when the Black Spindle exotic mission first came out. It was tough, but it was doable. I'll be honest with you, I don't know of any exotic missions in Destiny 2 that are not doable. Like, I don't. Like, Starcrossed, you know, it's easily doable. You know, Avalon, it's very doable. Harbinger, it's not in the game anymore, but it's not in the game anymore, but it's still doable. Like, I can't really tell what they're saying, that, you know, like what they're trying to say here by saying, oh, I remember, you know, when it first came out, it was tough, but it was doable. What is not doable in Destiny 2? Like seriously, if you're watching this and you're maybe a new player and you feel like you're gate kept out of content, what is it that is completely just off the table for you? Like, what can you actually not do that you have no control over? You know, you want to say raids? Oh, well, I can't do raids. Why not? Are you not high enough power level, or do you just not want to find the team to do a raid? You know, like that's what I mean here. Like, doable is the ability to do it. And I think that 99% of the people probably watching this video have the ability to do a raid. How many of you actually partake in a raid or a Grandmaster Nightfall or whatever it is? I don't know. But I think 99% of people that are watching this video have the ability to do it. With a power cap being 1810, 1840 is just a ridiculous requirement. I assume this is in reference to Grandmaster Nightfalls. Again, I don't see how it's ridiculous. Grandmasters back in D1 were, I would argue they were more difficult. I mean, like, literally one shot from anything would kill you. Resilience back in Destiny 1 did not work the way it is in Destiny 2, right? Resilience in Destiny 1 gave you at most like maybe 10% more damage, and you'd still get one shot by snipers. In Nightfalls, you would still be one shot by hobgoblins in the Vault of Glass raid. Like, you know, so with the power cap being 1810, 1840 is just a ridiculous requirement. You don't have to be 1840. In fact, the power cap being 1810, I think that probably means that the Grandmaster Nightfall cap is 1815, because I think it's 25 under. Like, or I think you're capped at 25 under. So as long as you're 1815, or higher, you're good. Again, any player who has reached 1810, which again, not difficult to do, especially over the past, what, two or three seasons, maybe even 4 seasons. 1810 is not difficult to obtain if you're just doing your pinnacles every week. And 1840, like after that, like 5 levels. What is 5 levels up from 1810? That's maybe an hour or 2 of gameplay in a week. Doing your seasonal challenges like going on patrol and doing stuff on Neo Moon Patrol, going and, getting kills with a heavy weapon. Like, how difficult are these things to do? And they give you massive amounts of XP, right? It's like this player is unaware that just because you're 1840 doesn't mean you're actually going to be 1840. Like, your power is capped at 1815, or maybe it's even capped at 1810. I can't remember. I know it's either 25 or 30 levels under. But they're saying that, with a power cap being 1810, 1840 is just a ridiculous requirement. That is not a requirement. That is factually wrong. 1815 is a requirement. And really, I would say 1815 is a recommendation, because I think if you're up to 30 level, I think if you're more than 30 levels under an enemy, you won't be able to damage it, if I'm not mistaken. But I think if you're 1810, base level 1810, you should be able to do Grandmasters, if I'm not mistaken. And that's, but they go on to say, and that's just Bungie's in. The player-to-player side is even worse. This is gonna be good. You have to have this weapon or that weapon to even get accepted into high-level content. Again, this is D1. This is what happened in D1. This is not D2. I have never seen a post on a Grandmaster, on a raid, on a master raid, on a master dungeon that says must have X weapon, must have Galahorn, must have Dragon Breath, must have a crafted Apex Predator with bait and switch and reconstruction. Nothing. I have never ever seen that in Destiny 2. Never. I don't know where this player's finding these teams that you have to have this weapon or that weapon. And maybe what they're referring to is like, you don't have to, but it's borderline necessary to do the proper amount of damage. But even that's not true. There are plenty of weapons that can put out enough damage to kill or to do whatever you're trying to do. My opinion, in Destiny 1, the way Destiny 1 worked is there was a scale, right? Galahorn was the top of the scale. The content met with the top of the scale. Crota's End, for example, you had to have Galahorn to clear Crota's End. Destiny 2, the scale is a little bit different. Your scale to do content is like right in the middle, maybe like 60% over. To do content, anything that passes that 60% mark is going to be able to do the content, and anything past 60% is just going to do extra damage, right? I guarantee you somebody could take the worst rolled rocket launcher in the game and clear Brood of Nightmares, Vault of Glass, King's Fall, Crota's End. Like you can use that. Like no longer are we in the days where you have to have X gun to do certain thing. Now it's X gun makes stuff a little bit quicker, not necessarily easier, but a little bit quicker, and that's it. Let's continue reading here. You have to hit once with a rocket and then switch to your Callus Mini tool for 5 shots, and then your primary for 5 shots, and then 2 rockets, then your primary. It's annoying. So I'm thinking this is literally, they're describing Apex Predator with bait and switch. Again, you don't have to use bait and switch. You can use bipod and reconstruction for 4 rockets if you like to spam rockets. You don't have to use this, and also, like, I'm wondering in their post here, this is not really somebody who looks like they have a lot of time played the game, because they're using Callus Mini tool and a primary and a second primary. Again, we talked the other day, double primary is not really the most efficient option, but like, how difficult is it to pull out Callus Mini tool, shoot, pull out whatever primary you have, shoot, deal damage, then switch to Apex Predator and deal damage? It's not difficult. And maybe it's annoying, but at the same time, if it's annoying, just don't do it. It's like you're not being gatekept from content because you don't want to use a bait and switch weapon. Like, am I crazy here? Like has somebody been gatekept because they don't want to use a bait and switch weapon? Like, if you have, please give me a detailed story in the description, not some comment saying, "Ah, it happened to me." Like, I need a detailed story about what happened and what you're doing and stuff like that. But continuing on here, they go on to say, "I love this game. I hate the player base." Again, the player base is better than it's ever been. If they're comparing it to D1, the D1 player base was awful. That was the most toxic player base I think I've ever seen in a video game. It's worse than Call of Duty's old player base. And the player base is the only way it is because Bungie keeps giving elitists a safe place to treat lesser players like dirt by making sure your game is too demanding. Again, we have talked about this before. The game is not too demanding. In fact, the game is not demanding enough. That's something that, like, this player is a very casual player. I'm gonna make an assumption here. They're a very casual player. The elitists are constantly asking for more difficult content. People that are at the top of the game want more difficulty. They want more, they want more ingenuity behind the activities that they're doing. Bungie does not cater to the elitist player base. Like the last thing that we got that's like, elite, that could even be considered maybe elitist, is like maybe Wicked Implement, and having that time challenge to get that exotic. Like that was tough, it wasn't difficult. I mean, I got it my first try, but like, Bungie, they're not catering to elitists. They're not giving elitists a safe place to treat lesser players like dirt. Bungie has been like very starchly against toxicity and elitists treating casual players bad. That's why they took away Gallahorn from us back in D1 when the Dark Below dropped. Gallahorn was gone. Gallahorn was, you couldn't use it anymore. And Bungie said, no, we're not bringing it back. And players moaned and whined and complained about it. And they said, oh, this game is the worst game ever because they took my rocket launcher away that made content too easy, blah, 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 all that stuff. But like, Bungie has been historically very anti-toxicity. I still see that. There is no content in the game that is too difficult for anybody to complete. And actually, I take that back, there is some stuff that is too difficult, but it's not general content. It's very specific triumphs. Flawless Raider, for example. Flawless Raider is a difficult triumph to achieve. I have never completed a raid flawlessly. Well, I take that back. I have never completed a raid with a team flawlessly, right? I want to, I would love to. I'd love to get the Volta Glass shader, but I haven't. Does that gatekeep me? Does not having a shader gatekeep me from playing Destiny 2? Am I sitting here going, why? I can't do this content because I don't have my shader. No. Sorry, that might have been really loud. No, it's not. And this is it's frustrating that casual players see it this way. It's important to look at both sides, right? You got to look at the casual side. You have to look at the elitist side. The elitist side says we want more difficult content. We want more challenging stuff. Bungie says, well, we're not gonna do that and gatekeep casual players from doing certain things, but we'll give you stuff. We will give you master versions of raids and dungeons that give you higher tier loot. Do you have to have an Abyss Defiant that is adept? No. The regular Abyss Defiant will do just fine, right? The adept will give you a slight stat boosts, and that's it. Like adept weapons, they are, and access to certain mods too, but it's not like they are just absolutely, like, it's not like Gallahorn in Destiny 1 where it's so far over on this end of things that it doesn't make sense to not have one. Like adept weapons would be the closest thing, and maybe Artifice Armor, the closest things I can think of that are like, you don't need adept weapons. They're nice to have, but you do not need them, especially when you can get non-adept weapons with the exact same rolls and stats. I have a crafted Abyss Defiant. It's serving me great. I'm gonna use it whenever I want. If I had an adept Abyss Defiant, sure, it'd be cool, but is it preventing me from doing anything? Absolutely not. So, they're saying, oh, they're making the game too demanding. No, Destiny 2 is not too demanding. Destiny 2, in my opinion, is as demanding as any other game. You can't just step into Call of Duty and expect to be really good and have all the guns unlocked and accessible to you. You have to put the time into it. You can't just hop into, what's the other game? Fallout 76. You can't just hop in there and expect to just, oh, I'm just gonna go all over the world and, do whatever I want. Like, no, you have to invest time into playing to bring yourself up. And I would argue that some of these games, like Fallout 76, requires way less playtime than Destiny 2 before you can get access to the things you want. Destiny 2 is not some, insane place where like, oh my God, you have to play for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and just, basically months on end before you start getting good stuff. Like, no, like it's not like that. Okay. And I'm not going off of what I imagine the new player experience like. I've talked to new players. Okay, I will be playing the Crucible. I'll see somebody level 1, level 2. I'll invite them to my fire team and I'll talk to them. I'll be like, hey, like, are you new to Destiny? Yeah, I'm new. I just picked this game up. Some friends told me it was fun. I was just trying to see what it's about. Okay, and we'll play, and I'll add them, and for a couple of weeks we'll play together and stuff like that. And I'll ask them a couple of weeks later. I'll be like, hey, how are you feeling about the game? Like, do you like it? Like, what do you not like about it? How do you feel about the grind, stuff like that? And the answer's almost always the same. It's like, it's okay. The game's okay. Is it too difficult to get anything? No. Like literally every time I ask, is it too difficult to get anything? It's always no. And maybe that is, that's the novice player mindset. Or the novice player, what's the word I'm looking for here? Arrogance. Not arrogance. That's not the word I'm looking for. Anyway, the word, whatever. Okay, look. It's new players just not knowing about certain things existing. New players don't know that, Wishkeeper exists. They don't know that, Avalon exists, right? And they haven't actually tried to go get it, but it's always the same. It's like, no, nothing's really too hard to get. And as they play more, they slowly understand it. Like I have some friends on my playlist who I added from like, you know, when they were level 1s and 2s, Guardian rank 1s and 2s, and now they're Guardian ranks 7, 8, you know, and they've gone from this really weird random build to now a cohesive build where it's like, hey, I see what they're going for. You know, they're doing Void Lock, they've got Briar Binds on, they've got, you know, whatever else is going on. Like they're learning how the game works and they're still actively playing. You can't sit here. It's not fair to sit here and say, oh, it's too demanding. It's just as demanding as any other game on the market. I would argue it's even less demanding. Let's keep reading though. In 2 weeks time, any player should be at max power level. There you go. You said it yourself. In 2 weeks time, any player should be at max power level. So here's what I will say about this. If you started from scratch, if you started brand new, made your first character, it's probably gonna take more than 2 weeks, right? But in 2 weeks time, if you are playing regularly, you should be getting close. And I would say in about 3 weeks time, you should be at max power level. 3 to 4 weeks, you should be at max power level. But they said in 2 weeks time, any player should be at max power level. But thanks to your terrible gear system, we get 4 primary drops in 1 week's pinnacle rotation, and then get booted from that content we were working an entire 2 weeks to be able to try. So I will say this is kind of a complaint that I have. Pinnacles, sometimes you do have bad luck with pinnacles. It's happened to me before. You know, I will go in and I'll get 3 helmets in 1 week, and it's like, I need a mark, I need a chest piece, I need boots, and you give me 3 helmets. It's frustrating, but that's also part of RNG, you know. And I think that maybe Bungie could do something to kind of prevent that getting those repetitive drops. You know, like when you do a pinnacle, you're guaranteed to get, you know, the pin or whatever reward you get is guaranteed to be in the slot that you need it most. So I won't disagree with that, but at the same time, again, how many pinnacles exist? How many opportunities do you have? You do a raid, you get what, 4 opportunities for pinnacles, you get 3 from ritual play or your core playlist. Like that's 7 already. That's enough to almost fill up your entire Guardians inventory if you're really lucky. But let's keep reading here. Oh, guess what? Now you have to have 100 resilience or everybody hates you. Guys, how often are you playing without 100 resilience? Ask yourself that. How often are you playing without 100 resilience? And if you're playing without 100 resilience, have you ever had anybody be toxic towards you, you know, smack talk you or hate on you? Because I haven't. I play Warlock and Hunter very frequently, and you know, my Hunter's average resilience level is probably 2, right? My Warlock's is probably like 5. My Titan is always 10, but the class ability and whatnot, like it's again, I don't know where this player is playing at that they're getting hated on for not having 100 resilience, but like that's just, it's not true. The toxicity that this player has continuously complained about is just not present in Destiny 2. It's not. And like I would say, like, you know, oh well, you know, this is based on my personal experience. Like, oh, I've never experienced toxicity, but I'm probably looking in the same places they are. I'm on the LFG forums, never seen one saying, oh, must have 100 resilience. I have joined in raid teams, Grandmaster Nightfall teams, you know, Crucible teams, all this stuff. Never had anybody say, oh, wow, you only have 4 resilience. Like, you suck, get out of here, I'm kicking you. Never had that happen. So where is this player finding these people? And I would go as far to say, you know, most of you have probably never had that happen. Like, have you ever had somebody give you legitimate hate for not having 100 resilience? Seriously. This is honestly ridiculous, and I'm disappointed that Bungie would be so toxic. I don't think this, I mean, if this is actually happening to this player, it's not Bungie being so toxic, it's the player base being toxic. I just want to be able to play the game with people, but because I haven't farmed Last Wish, very coordinated raid, hold on a second. I just wanted to play this game, but because I haven't farmed Last Wish, a very coordinated raid, this, I mean, yes, Last Wish is pretty coordinated. Here's the thing though, all raids are coordinated, number 1. Number 2, Last Wish is possibly the easiest raid to farm and get all the craftable weapons in a matter of 8 hours. Why? Because Callie, the first encounter, drops everything. She drops all the armor, she drops all the weapons, and you can do, and Callie's easy. Callie is here, stand on these plates, you know, don't stand on the one with the ball on it, kill the enemies. Once you've killed your knights that spawn, Go to the middle and get ready for DPS. Like that's all Cali is. Like it is that simple. I farmed it the week that I was farming, that first week that Last Wish came out. I literally farmed it for like 3 or 4 hours without a mic. Nobody had a mic on. Just everybody was just doing it. So this is, again, I don't know what this player, I don't know what their experience is. Like if it was Riven, legit, yeah, I get it. If it was Morgeth, yeah, I get it. If it was Shuro-Chi, maybe I could get it, but like it's Cali. Like Cali is not a difficult thing. You just have to like research how to do it, and that's it, and get in there and do it. Put your mic on so that you can talk to people, and they'll guide you on how to do it, because it's so easy. Like it's not like, you know, they're looking for quick runs, like they're farming it. They want somebody who's willing to do it, who can do it, who's going to be there for a while. If I were to never have completed Last Wish raid and I joined a fire team and I said, hey, I don't know what I'm doing, but I really want to grind this, teach me what to do, I guarantee you all 5 people would be like, oh, here, just stand right here. You know, once it starts, don't stand on the one with the ball on it. Kill the knights when they spawn, when it eventually gets time to that, and then go to the middle and damage Cali, right? But sorry, I just want to play the game with people, but because I haven't farmed Last Wish, a very coordinated raid, 115 times to get an Apex Predator, I get to just screw off and not play this game with people. Again, who is begging people to have Apex Predator? I have never seen that. I've never seen somebody say, must have Apex Predator. Like that's so ambiguous. Like this to me sounds like it's somebody who just, they don't want to take the time to actually put into the game. They want the rewards without actually playing the game. That's to me what this 100% feels like. And that's just, it's wrong. This is messed up, and I don't like that this player is saying that. Like this literally feels like it's not more of a genuine concern post. It is a ranting, I'm mad because something happened. I get to bash my head against the wall trying to solo content that is meant for more players. What what are you trying to solo? What are you trying to solo? And why are you not using LFG in-game LFG? Thanks for forcing me to use guns I don't like. Literally every day, every in-game activity. Again, no one's forcing you. No one is forcing you to use these. Like this is all in your head. This is all just like complaining. This is classic D1 complaining, right? This is an individual who's pissed off because they don't have something, or that they're just pissed off about something. Like I really can't figure out why they're complaining. You're not forced to use Apex Predator. There are, in fact, actually, Cross just did a video not too long ago talking about what is that new rocket launcher, the Arc rocket launcher. It has slide shot and reconstruction. Slide shot, I think it's slide shot, or not slide shot, reconstruction. Slide shot and like explosive light. That is infinitely better than Apex Predator, right? Like he had a whole video breaking it down. He actually had a whole video bringing out permeability, which can stack with surge mods to make those rockets do insane damage. Like you're not required to use Apex Predator, brother. You are not. You don't have to have raid weapons to do Destiny 2 content. It's not that hard. And if you're trying to solo content, like I want to know, why are you trying to solo a Nightfall when it's so easy to get a team together? You make the fire team. People will join you. If they don't like your layout, they can leave and somebody else will replace themselves immediately, because it's ridiculous how fast fire teams fill up, because 90% of people that come to the LFG forum, they don't want to go through the stress of making a fire team. They just want to join a fire team. I always make my own posts. Like if I want a Grandmaster team, I type in Grandmaster Nightfall, because if I sit there on that page refreshing it, trying to get in there, I'm going to be there for 10 minutes before I finally get into one. Use the LFG the way it was meant to be used. I don't know. This is sad that players exist like this. Like this to me, the only toxicity coming from Destiny 2 is players like this that are just constantly complaining about something that's not worth complaining about. Don't be like this person. Don't go out and say, oh, like I'm gonna complain about this because I don't have whatever. Instead of doing that, go out and get it. Nothing is stopping you from going out and farming Cali in Last Wish, whenever Last Wish is. It's actually this week Cali is Last Wish is the farmable raid. Go out and do it. You think I liked grinding Cali for 8 or 9 hours? Hell no. I did not enjoy that at all. Like that was so boring, but I did it. I did it, and I got all the craftable weapons. And I said, you know what? I'm good. I'm satisfied. I'm never touching Last Wish again, and I haven't touched Last Wish since because I don't have to anymore, which is fantastic. Just go out and do it. Quit coming to the forums and complaining. Quit complaining about things that you obviously don't understand. You know, saying that with the Grandmaster Nightfall, oh, you have to be 1840 to do Grandmaster. No, you don't. If you pay attention, you have to be 1815. I could be mistaken that, but you don't have to be 1840. I'm not even 1840. I played this game a whole lot. I'm like 1830. I have never seen a player that's 1840. Like the highest I've seen another player in Destiny 2 is 1835. That's the highest this season I've seen another player. Get your facts together, learn how the game works, then come back and constructively criticize what's going on. Because there's no construction here. This is all complaining. This is not, hey, here's what you can do to fix this, and this. And one of the things, y'all know, if y'all been here for a while, one of the things that we try to do in our videos, we try to criticize things that are wrong, and we try to offer solutions. You know, our exotic recrafting series, the series where we talk about exotics that just aren't good. We talk about why they're not good, of course, but we also talk about how you can fix them. Anytime there's an activity that players are complaining about, we talk about why players are complaining about it, and then we talk about how Bungie can fix it. This is not it. This is not it at all. Anyways, look, we're running on almost 45 minutes here. This is ridiculous. With that being said, I want to hear your thoughts on everything that we talked about. Like, do you agree with this person's post? Do you think that Destiny's too grindy and too hard? Or are you kind of on the other side? Are you like, no, like, it's not too hard? You know, like that's where I am. And yeah, like, again, I know I am a much more dedicated player. Like, I play this game a lot more than the average player does, like a lot more than the average player does. So I am biased towards, you know, the elitists, so to speak, but I'm trying to look at it unbiased here. And I don't think that it is as bad as this player's making it out to be. And if at the end of the day, if it's this bad, don't play. And I hate saying that because I hate when people tell me that, but just don't. If it's really causing you this much strife that you have to go and make a post about it, you know, that's just all it is complaining with no construction whatsoever, just don't play. Anyways, yeah, if you enjoyed the video, the long one today, drop a like, helps the channel a lot. Subscribe for more daily Destiny content. Do me a favor, watch these videos you see on the end screen here, because for whatever reason, YouTube thinks you'll like them. Guys, I will see y'all next time. Bye for now.